What's up guys, my name is Doug. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reacting to Post Malone's latest project, Hollywood's Bleeding. I'm not going to waste too much of your time with this introduction. I will be explaining the change in background. I actually stole my wife's backdrop for the videos that she makes and put it into the room where I normally record. And this isn't going to be an everyday thing. This is something new that I'm trying out, but if you would like to see this happen more often, then help me to buy my own by supporting the channel on Patreon, because that would be really dope. It would make the videos look a lot cooler. And follow me on my social media and subscribe to the channel as well so that we can continue to grow and attract more people to the awesome content that I'm trying to produce here. So I would really appreciate all your support on there. And you know, Post Malone, his last project, I have a reaction to it for those of you who are going to ask in the comment section. I don't have a reaction to his first project, although I do really like it. His last project was surprising. It was more of a turn in the mainstream direction from his first project. It was way more radio friendly. The hooks were a little catchier. They were more poppy, I guess. But I found it really enjoyable. I really enjoyed that album, and I listened to most of the tracks off that track list to this day. So, you know, I'm expecting good music. He's kind of like Drake in the sense that he doesn't really make bad music. He just has some songs that are better than others, but none of them are inherently bad or of bad quality, I think. So, you know, I'm expecting this to be high quality. I'm expecting this to be fun to listen to. It's going to be a fun video, and I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys chose this channel to come in and watch for this content. So with that being said, I'm going to stop wasting your time with this introduction. Shout out to those of you who sat through the introduction. Let me know in the comment section if you're one of those people. And the first track is the title track, Hollywood's Bleeding. So let's get to it, man.
Everyone's gone, but no one's leaving. Nobody left, but say you wanna see me, but you can't right now. You never took the time to get Hollywood is bleeding, but we call it home. Up and smoking on the ash when it rains.
Nice.
Go to sleep in the day. Eyes on me. Shut up, do you know what you see?
So with that first track, Hollywood's Bleeding, it kind of sounds like he's talking about some of the negative side effects of fame and living in Hollywood, living that lifestyle where you're going to parties and you're waking up in the morning, you've got to put shades on because you can't handle the light. Most likely you're hungover, you've got to check your pulse to tell yourself that you're okay, that you didn't overdose, you know, going out and having everybody's eyes on you. Just talking about some of these negative sides of being famous and what everyone in Hollywood has to deal with. And you can't really tell, but Hollywood is bleeding. I think that it's a really cool, you know, message. It's not a new message or anything that we haven't really heard before, but it's cool, and the way that he presents it is pretty dope. You know, I'm really digging the production. It's very minimalistic for the most part. I mean, his verse does have the really cool drums and somewhat aggressive bass line, but for the most part, this track has the really cool mellow guitar sample, a really slow BPM. You know, he kind of changes the BPM does change kind of abruptly after his verse going back into the chorus. It does slow down quite a bit. It's kind of a hard left. So I feel like maybe that transition could have been done a little better, but really for the most part, this track is pretty cool, and it's a cool introduction. It's definitely got a dark, moody tone, which kind of fits with the album's cover. You know, it's not as vibrant or colorful as Post Malone's normal album covers are. You know, we had the first one that was really bright orange, and then the second one had a lot of yellow in it. This one's mostly black. I mean, the brightest that it gets is a very cool blue, so it definitely does feel like he's taken kind of a darker turn with this style of music, but I think that it's enjoyable. It's a quick introduction. It gets us kind of the concept of maybe what this album's going to be about, and yeah, man, I liked it. I liked it. It was enjoyable. Post Malone's vocal performance, as always, is great. You know, I'm a big fan of his singing voice. I'm a big fan of the melodies that he normally chooses to sing in his tracks. I honestly think that he sings really, really well, so I thought that was really enjoyable as well in this track. Track 2 is Saint Tropez.
Such a long time. Abs like Abercrombie fish. But I run into my bitch.
Okay.
Honey, 3, 4, 5, 6. I take them all, no matter what. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, we're repeating that line. So this one took a turn in another direction. You know, it's definitely more radio friendly. He kind of had fun with this track. Way more lyrically immature than that last track. I mean, literally, he repeats the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 twice. Versace boxers on my dick, Bud Light running through my piss, abs like Abercrombie Fitch. I mean, you know, he's flexing, 50 carats on my fist, I moneyball like Bradley Pitt. I mean, that one's easy, you know, that's an easy bar. So, you know, all of these lines are very, very easy to catch on to. They're very memorable in that they're very silly, kind of goofy. I'm in Saint Tropez, I had to check wrist, I just bought my girl a new necklace. You know, these rhymes are very easy. is what like the songwriting is not great. Okay, you know, this is definitely a track that he's just having fun with. He's not taking seriously at all. The beat is very energetic. It's got that really cool kind of like top-down summertime vibe to it. People are going to be listening to this on the radio and singing along with their friends, and I feel like that's kind of the effect that he wants with this track. You know, it's not very complex, it's not very intricate. There's so much more that Post Malone could have done. You know, he's so much more talented than this, I think. I feel like this one is kind of just like an easy hit for him to make, you know? I've been doing what I want since Fetus. Yeah, you know, songwriting is lazy on this track. I'm not saying it's a bad song because of it. It's just not very lyrically impressive. It's still fun to listen to. It's got a fun vibe to it. The beat is pretty cool. You know, it's going to be a track that you could put on and just sit through. You don't necessarily have to skip it because, like I said, Post Malone doesn't really make bad music, but he's capable of much better than this, I'm certain. Also, really quick, I'm sorry about any background noise. I think my neighbor is running like a leaf blower or a chainsaw or something loud in the background. And there's really nothing I can do about that. So I'm just going to try to be louder than it. But yeah, just sorry about that.
Enemies, yes, so sad. I said I would never get this far. I said I'm just talking too much blah, blah, blah. So, where did you ride? Sorry that you can't get over me. Now you're out my life, I'm so
Packing the post, and I'm on Malone with the box at the door to go for 35. I tried to put on for my
Post Malone.
Pass a man a plate, he can make the shakers guaranteed. Throw them bite the hand and feed him. And I know you think that I ain't see it.
keep them close, now they dead to me. Money tennis show.
So the production here is a highlight, right? I mean, I think it's got a really fun vibe. The synths are really cool. It's kind of choppy and bouncy. The drum pattern is great. The 808s are very, they're not very dark, you know, they're not playing minor chords. You know, it feels like this is all very major and happier sounding, if that makes any sense at all. This definitely didn't feel as dark as I expected this album to be off of that first track. You know, so the production here is good. No qualms with it at all. You know, it's just a fun beat. DaBaby was pretty cool. I like hearing him on this song, probably more than I enjoyed Post Malone on this track. I feel like Post Malone, again, he's making easy hits, you know, kind of like he did with that last project. And like I said, that's not a problem. I listened to a lot of those songs off that last project, but I am expecting to see some evolution because Stoney was, I feel, you know, more sincere and more true to what he wants to be making. Beer Bongs and Bentleys kind of took a more mainstream turn because he wanted to be more radio friendly and attract new listeners. And now that he's done that, I was expecting him to kind of go back to a little bit more of that sincerity and complexity off of Stoney, you know, or tracks like Stay, where he really dives into his emotional, truer to himself side and shows off a little bit of maturity, you know, in his songwriting. So again, this one feels kind of like a lazily written hit. You know, it's going to do well on the radio. People are going to be happy to listen to this, and they're not going to skip it. This has got a fun vibe to it. People are going to have a lot of fun listening to this track. I personally feel like it went on too long. I didn't really need him to sing the hook again towards the end of the track. But it is catchy. It's got a really fun melody. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be popular with the people. But is it really true to Post Malone? Is it really sincere? And is it mature and complex? No. The next track is Allergic.
So sad but true. Why can't you believe them?
I like that he chose that note.
This is impossible.
See, I feel like this is better because it's something different that I feel like Post Malone is trying. The production is great, in my opinion. You know, going from the really energetic drums and guitars into that little doo-wop vibe for the chorus is really smooth, the transition, and it's interesting. It's something that you don't see coming. It's a very welcome surprise. I like it. I like the different style that he chose for this. I like the different vibe, the direction that he took with it. And not only that, not only is he experimenting with the production, but these lyrics, although they're not very complex, they do seem more sincere. They sound like he put a little more effort into writing them. I mean, you're friends with all my demons, you know, talking about this toxic relationship. It's not really radio-friendly subject matter, you know what I mean? So it sounds like he's being a little more true to himself and writing about something more mature, a more mature subject matter, talking about something that he truly wants to talk about instead of just trying to draw more of the public's attention to him. But at the same time, doing that on a beat that is a little more radio friendly and still kind of catchy and fun. You know, it's not a dark sounding song, but the lyrics take a little bit of a darker turn. So I feel like this one is more of a step in the correct direction. Forgive me for the background noise. And I feel like this one is starting to head in the direction that I wanted Post Malone to go in. So hopefully this is the turning point for the project, and the songs after this only get better. 1,000 Bad Times is next. And by the way, like I said at the beginning, Post Malone's vocal performance has been great. I'm loving the vibratos that he does as always. I mean, nothing bad about his performance to say at all.
TV, you know I'm a star. Say you don't know me, but I know that's fine. I had 1,000 bad times, so what's another time to me? More to kill me, bitch. So thank you for the grab. I needed me a place. Another night with you, baby. I know. Just get my heart broke like I needed to practice. Foot on my throat, tell my words collect. But I still want more. I should get.
So again, talking about a very toxic relationship, but one that he is choosing for himself. You know, he knows that this woman is crazy. He knows that she's the type to burn his house down. He knows that she's the type to put him in a grave. But he says that he needed a place to sleep, and he thanks her for the grave. So it's like, he knows she's crazy. He knows that she's bad for him, but he wants her anyways. And that's kind of what he's saying in the bridge. So, you know, again, you know, this is more mature subject matter. This is somebody who is so abused and so messed up in the head that they want this toxic relationship. They want to be with somebody who is bad for them because it's all a game to them and they can't take anything seriously. So it is more mature songwriting, I think, compared to some of those earlier tracks. The production on this is interesting. It's almost got this interesting punk / pop rock vibe to it. There aren't really any heavy guitars or anything like that, but the drum pattern with the chorus is what reminds me of that style, you know, that style that got really popular in the late 90s, I think early 2000s. You know, definitely reminiscent of that style of music. I think it's interesting. It's not really where I want him to be at personally. I do expect more from him. But like I said with that last track, it is a step in the correct direction, I feel, in my personal opinion. So if you don't agree with that, you can let me know in the comments section. But that's how I feel about it. Next track is Circles. I know he dropped this a while ago, but I didn't listen to it yet. I waited for the project, so let's get it.
Couldn't turn around till we were upside. Here without time. Call. Feed the flag 'cause we can't go. Take the lead, run away from the right side. It was just a sex door, the sex door, and I still idiot.
Again, a very similar theme to the last few tracks. You know, a toxic situation, but he keeps running in circles. He keeps coming back to it. You know, he said so himself in a quote that he's kind of like a glutton for pain. You know, it's a crappy situation, but he keeps returning to it and coming back to it. You know, and definitely, yes, you can see that within the last 3 tracks, this one included. So I'm not going to repeat myself because, you know, like I said, it's the same thing for the 3rd time in a row. It's got a really cool vibe to it. The production, again, kind of sounds like something you would hear inside a Hollister or an Abercrombie and Fitch store, or, you know, Forever 21. It's got that kind of like really poppy rock vibe to it, you know? It's cool. It's not bad. It's fun to listen to and to dance to and to move around to, you know, but that's really it. There's not that much else to this track. It's tough because it is a step in the right direction, and he's being kind of honest and talking about how he keeps returning to these crappy situations, and that is kind of relatable, but at the same time, it doesn't really go in depth. There's not an incredible amount of substance to it. You know, it's not like Stay. You know, it's not like, what's the name of that track that got really big off of Stoney? Oh, I forget. Everybody loves that song. I hate it because of the snare. It's such a me thing. But yeah, you know, there's just not a whole lot of substance to it. Next track is Die For Me. This one's featuring Halsey and Future. Let's see what they've got.
Heaven, that's a different side, I see. Said you died for me, you died for me, you died for me. First sight, felt like you were chosen. Put that blood in your veins, yeah, I know it's frozen. Your ex call, you was vulnerable, you flying now. Wasn't on the best of. Said you died for me, you died for me,
So all three artists on this track put on pretty good vocal performances. I'm not gonna lie, I do really enjoy Future doing the hook. That was pretty good. I'm loving the wailing guitars in the background, you know, the very eerie synths in the background make the song feel a lot darker. You know, this is again about a relationship that is just going wrong at every turn, really. This person's lying to them, this person is cheating on them. Halsey spits this verse that's pretty sincere. You know, it sounds like she's talking to her ex and saying that she's spilling all their secrets now. Her last project sold 15 million copies and it was just a breakup note. So, you know, that one was pretty sincere. Future and Post Malone are pretty good on this track. You know, but everything about this track is pretty good. It's pretty good. It'll probably do well on the charts, you know. Again, Post Malone makes a lot of radio-friendly music, man. But I did kind of prefer it when he wasn't so radio-friendly. I'm being honest here. Next track is On the Road.
They ain't never ever seen me fall, nah, never. Always keep on up on them cause I'm too on. Oh, I'm taking a shit, look at the plaques on the wall. Y'all just sit back, get your kick back. Then when I see them, look at them. Leave when I lose and pop back up soon as I win. You ain't my love and turn it in, but it ain't stop me, I just kept going up. Took it on the chin, I wish I
turned into a savage. I got bags in my neck, you drive it fast and I won't crash it. I'm supposed to be sober.
This song was kind of a welcome change of pace in my opinion. You know, the beat is, again, a little darker. It's got the really cool eerie synths and sirens in the background. I think it's really dope. Oh, Nick Mira has production credits on this. That makes sense. So does Louis Bell, by the way. Shout out to the producers. You guys are the real MVPs for most of Post Malone's albums. I'm really digging the chorus. I think that Post Malone's verse was pretty good. He did have that one about the plaques on the wall. That line is just kind of cringeworthy, you know. But Meek Mill's verse, lyrics, awesome. The flow is a little offbeat, and I can see what he was trying to do. You know, by putting it offbeat, it was kind of like... It's almost like instead of rapping, he's literally sitting down in front of us and talking to us and trying to spit some facts to us. So I can see what he was trying to do there, but I would prefer it to be a little more on beat. Lil Baby's verse was pretty dope. I like the way that he put the auto-tune in his vocals and kind of mixed his vocals a little differently. It does sound like there's a layered vocal on top of his that's pitched up an octave, but it's very, very quiet. It just adds another layer to his vocals that keeps it really interesting to listen to. You know, for the most part, this track is pretty good. This is definitely... Man, the neighbors are just out to get me today, dude. For the most part, this track has been really cool and definitely one of the better ones, I would say. Take What You Want is next, and this is the one that I've been really looking forward to because it's got a Travis Scott and an Ozzy Osbourne feature. So let's get it.
Laying my arms down to your heart stone. Take what you need from me, take what you want to go.
I never knew. You showed your tongue and it was forked in two. Your venom was lethal. Face it away, trying to find my way out. Find my way out. Heart of stone.
Should've let Ozzy do it again.
I took those stones you threw, made chains for the crew. I brought everything, taking whatever. Been thinking whenever you be back around.
The best thing about this track is the production. Definitely the production. I mean, the guitar player at the end was killing it, dude. He was absolutely shredding. Really cool listening to the trap drums with the guitar solo. It was pretty epic, you know, and the vibe to this, the darker mood, I mean, all of that, the production is just perfect. You know, Ozzy Osbourne's feature was great. He did a great job singing the hook. I don't think Travis Scott felt like Travis Scott on this track. What's the point of having a Travis Scott feature when you have him sing the exact same melody that Post Malone sang on his verse? Why couldn't Post Malone just take the same lyrics that Travis Scott sang and do it himself? You know, if you're gonna have Travis Scott on a song, and I don't know whose decision that was, it might have been Travis's for all I know, you know, but if you're gonna have Travis on a song, have him stand out or have him do something different because it really just felt like a Post Malone verse with Travis's vocals. I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's Travis, you know? I feel like Ozzy was great on the hook, Post Malone's verse was cool, and when we got to Travis's verse, it just felt like Post Malone wrote it and Travis just sang it the way that Post wanted him to. And again, I'm purely speculating, but yeah, that's just the way I feel. I expected more from it, you know? I don't know, I'm feeling pretty disappointed with this project so far, man. I don't really know what it is. I think that I'm kind of projecting more negativity onto this project than I need to because I'm pairing the fact that I've been a little disappointed with it so far and the fact that I'm having to record with the neighbors doing a bunch of background noise, and I'm thinking that I'm going to finish this video later, come back to it when I've got a clearer mind, and the neighbors aren't being so annoying. And yeah, hopefully I'll be in a better state of mind to record the rest of this video, you know? But for right now, production has been the absolute best thing about this project. Post Malone is basically putting out Beer Bongs and Bentleys Part 2, you know, the the pop rock remix of Beer Bongs and Bentleys. That's kind of what this feels like to me. Yeah, I'll be back soon. And we're back. So it's the next day and I am ready to reapproach this album. I have seen a lot of people having very positive reactions to the songs off of this project, so I feel like maybe I am being a little harsh, but I do maintain that the songs have not been as high quality as I was expecting from Post Malone. And so I will continue to be honest. This is my first listen. These songs may or may not grow on me, so I may do another video in a few weeks after giving this album a few listens and following up on my opinions, but I will always be true to my opinions and true to myself on these videos. So I guess apologize if I'm not liking an album that you happen to really enjoy. But for now, I'm just not really impressed. Not even with that Ozzy Osbourne and Travis Scott track. Travis Scott's feature just felt unnecessary. I don't feel like he added anything different to the track, and I was honestly a little disappointed with it. Ozzy Osbourne was fantastic on this track, and so was Post Malone. I have that same opinion still, even though I have seen a lot of people blowing up over this track. I feel like they're overhyping it because of the features. We're going to continue this playthrough with I'm Gonna Be, so let's get it.
Wear my shirt tucked, yeah. Mink was 80K, that's fuck. I'm gonna be what I want, what I want, what I want, yeah. I'm gonna do. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Hey.
I mean, it's the same criticism that I had of that Ed Sheeran project, where it just seems like none of these messages are bad, and you can't really hate on somebody saying that they're going to be what they want to be and they're going to go after their dreams. I mean, it seems like there's this stencil for creating popular songs, radio-friendly pop trap songs, and they're just going over that stencil and not staying outside the lines, I mean, at all. They're following it to the letter, and it becomes generic, you know? I feel like that's just a radio-friendly song again that you can't hate on because it's got a positive message, and that a lot of people are going to listen to it because of the positive message, but it's not very interesting, honestly. There's not really much going on lyrically. The production is just enough to get it onto the radio, and it really feels like there's very little effort behind that, you know? The next track is Staring at the Sun featuring SZA. You know, there's awesome vocal performance on this track. It's got a really cool 80s pop groove to it. It's got a whole upbeat feel to it. It's really interesting. It's fun. It's not necessarily the type of music that I listen to personally, so I don't feel much replayability for me, but that's me personally and not due to the quality of the track itself. You know, this is a good song, and I really like SZA's participation here. I think that the whole melodies and the vibe to this is really cool. You know, it just feels like the intent behind this one was just to create a really fun pop song, and that's what they did. And the next track is Sunflower, which I've heard before, so I'm going to be skipping that one. I know that a bunch of you are still going to comment down below, why'd you skip Sunflower? Happens, you guys don't watch the videos all the way through. So I'll be skipping on to Internet.
Catch on. The lifestyle we live is just too dangerous. Paranoid since I've been leaking my shit. Wonder if it'll me where you been. Whoa, the world is going to shit and we don't know that.
I mean, it's a cool ballad where he talks about being frustrated with the internet and not really going on the internet anymore because the whole Instagram culture has just gotten to him, and he's just kind of done with it. Basically, he says that the world is absolutely going to shit. The internet culture is just kind of making it worse for him, so he doesn't really go on the internet anymore. It's beautifully produced. I saw Kanye West had some production credits on here, so does Blood Pop, DJ Dahi, and Louis Bell. you know, the really cool string arrangements towards the end, the soaring strings, and the really cool piano melodies throughout the beginning. It's just a really beautifully produced song, and that's admirable. His vocal performance is great, but that's been the case with this entire project. You know, my issue with this has never been his vocal performance, has never really been his energy on the track or anything like that. It's just been the only issue really for me with this project is just how generic it has been. You know, I mean, being frustrated with the internet and specifically Instagram culture. I mean, a lot of people are talking about this nowadays. You know, I mean, we just had 1,000 words on YBN Corday's project not too long ago, talking about Instagram and faking it. We have this song talking about Instagram and faking it, and I'm thinking about John Bellion's project late last year. I mean, there was a whole bunch of themes about how the internet was toxic and how being on Instagram and living out this lifestyle is just in order to impress other people, you know, is not it, and how he was frustrated with that on his album. So it's like this topic has just kind of like come up and has been really prevalent in music nowadays. So it's like, it's a cool topic to be talking about. It is absolutely factual. People are living fake lives on Instagram, and that does lead to them feeling generally unhappy because they see other people happy on Instagram and they think that they're the only ones that are unhappy and that only their lives are hard. And it does need to be talked about. But when you've got a topic that is being talked about everywhere, and you already have an album that I have been seeing as generic, and you talk about something that a bunch of other people are talking about as well, it doesn't help that, you know? Even though the subject matter is great and it needs to be addressed, it feels like he's doing it because it's popular and because it's what other people are talking about. A lot of these tracks have just kind of felt insincere. They felt like surface level. They felt like he just chose something to talk about that people would be willing to listen to for 2.5 minutes and put it on a really catchy beat. You know, this track is Goodbyes.
Pleasure is pain, my girl spites me in vain. All I do is complain, she needs some. Don't got shit to say. I want you out of my head, so I'm no good at goodbyes. We're both acting insane, but that it wasn't what you wanted. And we wouldn't let go, and we lost.
I'm trying to cut you, no knife. I wanna slice you and dice you. My 100%, look at me, no shot. You want me like dog.
I need to be saved too. I'm no good at goodbyes.
That's a great track. I really like Young Thug's feature on there. I feel like he fit really well with the beat. The strings that came in towards the end really made the beat feel emphatic. And I'm just taking these tracks for what they are now. You know, I'm not going to be critiquing them too heavily because I'm pretty disappointed with this project. And honestly, it's kind of wearing me down a little bit. And I hate being negative because it really puts me into a bad mood, and I'm not trying to ruin the rest of my Saturday. I was considering just not even putting this reaction out and listening to the project a few times on my own and putting out a review on Monday or Tuesday. But at this point, I'm just so invested already, and we only have 2 tracks left because I listened to WoW already. So I mean, I might as well just finish this. You guys enjoy the reactions anyway. I'm not sure whether you'll enjoy this one because it's been kind of negative so far, but at least you know I'm honest. You know, at least you know that I keep things real with you guys. And I'm not going to tell you I like something if I don't. So, track 15 is Myself. I'm not going to review it necessarily right after it. I'll let it play into track 16, and I'll give you my thoughts on both of them once they're both through.
It's how I live, how I play, since I've been loved. I wish I could have been there myself. People shedding shots down their damn throats. I wish I could have been. I made so much, spent so much, and even let's not give a fuck till giving a fuck. Don't you know that I'm more than a come up? You act up and then act like it's not. Listen to me, don't drive away. Kill me softly, your heart on me's something I can't. I love will never be another. You're just a devil on the cover. Found dread, shit was never right. In another bed every single night. Had it too.
And that's the album. I'm not going to listen to WoW, like I said, because I've heard it already. So, the last 2 tracks have great vibes to them. You know, I think that there was a turn for the better in the quality of these last 2 tracks. This last one being him talking to this girl, saying that he likes her, but it'll never work out, over some really interesting production. And Myself having the really cool summertime top-down vibes with the guitars and all that, and really good vocal performance from Post Malone. It also sounds like he's being more sincere and he's writing about something different, which is everything that I've been asking for. And not even necessarily different subject matter, but just approach different in a different way, a more sincere way. Yeah, I think that it's great. These last two songs are really, really good. I'm going to talk about this project now, and then I'm going to edit this video and put it out, and I don't know when I'll come back to this project, if I'm being honest. So I'm really frustrated because I hate dedicating hours of my life to sitting on camera and listening to an entire project and not being very happy with the project. It kills me, honestly, and it's annoying to know that I'm going to have to sit down and edit this thing for like 3 or 4 hours, knowing that I didn't really enjoy it and having to watch myself react to something that I'm not really enjoying. It's just, it sucks, it's frustrating. I really wish that I could sit down on camera and just like every single thing that I hear and not have to deal with ridiculous background noise. But that's just not the case, you know. This felt really generic. This felt like he just took a stencil. Man, this feels like he just kind of like took a stencil, put it down, and made an entire project to just fit that pop, rock, trap vibe for summertime and feel good vibes. And, you know, this almost feels like Beer Bongs and Bentley's pop rock remix. You know, that's almost what this felt like to me. It just didn't feel very complex. It didn't feel very intricate. It felt really surface level. Some of the features felt like they didn't really fit all that well. Travis Scott's feature felt like someone else wrote it for him and they just put his vocals on it. Again, I'm sorry, you guys, for the background noise. These neighbors are absolutely the most obnoxious people. But yeah, everything about this just felt rushed. It felt, I don't know, kind of effortless, you know? I'm not saying that he didn't work hard on any of these tracks, but it for a lot of them, it doesn't really feel like they took all that long to write. It didn't feel like they took all that long to produce. And I'm not saying that music that you make quickly is bad, but I'm saying that it doesn't feel like, oh my God, it doesn't feel like they tried to make something complex and great. It sounds like, you know, they let whatever lyrics first came to them just be the lyrics for the track, and it just felt like, hey, put together this really simple pop track. All right, now put these generic cut and paste lyrics over them, and then let's put it out and do numbers on the radio. That's really what it felt like he was trying to do with this project. I'm sorry to everybody for not really enjoying this as much as maybe some of you did. I apologize for the background noise. I apologize for my mood. You know, I went into this in a much better place than I'm leaving this video off because of all the things that went wrong throughout it. So they can all be classic videos. Stay safe, guys. I'll see you soon. I don't know when. Can't make any promises. Peace.